Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
We are back. Inside Arkansas live from Snookers here in Rhode Island. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in here on this beautiful day here in the great city of Providence. I am John Neighbors alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis. Appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. It is a Friday, so we're going to have so many things to talk about today. Of course, we're going to get into all the NCAA tournament talk. We'll get into your chats. We'll get into our heavy hitters presented by HD Construction. We'll do a little vibe check thanks to Basis Health. We'll look at some specials for BetSaracen and to get to your chats. Of course, most importantly, I know there's a lot of reactions. But, guys, the show feels a little bit better after an NCAA tournament win. I don't know about y'all, but being in the round of 32 is a lot better than not being in the round of 32. What do y'all say?
This is best case scenario, man. This is really, really, really what we were all hoping for on yesterday, and it happened. The Hogs got it done. I knew today was going to be a good day. I woke up. I was like, I'm going to go get a little fitness in. I walked out the door. It's raining. It's cloudy. It's windy. I was like, what the heck is going on? Got a couple blocks down the road. The rain starts to stop. The sun starts to peek out. I'm over by this golf course, minding my own business in my big red Razorback hoodie, and all of a sudden I hear, hey, suey pig.
Yeah, right. Hey, woo, suey, woo.
Very big northeastern accent from a dude on a golf cart, and it got me going, man. No, this is cool, man. It's a great day. Happy for the Hogs, and happy that we're still here kicking it at Snookers.
Yeah, I mean, Providence is a great place to kick it. Like we've been saying, it's a college basketball town, and it's just a fun atmosphere, and it's perfect for an event like this. But it's just so much sweeter, that post-victory feeling, knowing that your team is playing tomorrow in a big game. And other than that, it's cool that someone said something to you, Curtis, because I do feel like Hogs, the team and the fans and just us and just in general, we've left a good impression here in Providence. Like, we've represented pretty well. Shout out to everybody who's traveled from wherever, whether you came from, I know some people that flew straight up from Fayetteville like us or from Springdale or wherever. Some people that are, from the Northeast like Unbiased Brim, but just whoever that just got a chance to be here and support the Hogs. It's really awesome. I'm glad we made this work, and I'm glad that we have some life. We have some life, and today's going to be a sweet one because obviously there's no anxiety-inducing game hanging over our heads tonight. So these next 30 hours are going to be so sweet where we're just kicking it. And then, that anxiety will definitely kick in at some point. But today, it's a celebration. It's a relaxation day a little bit. It's a soak in the vibes and talk about the great stuff that happened last night. Yeah, because even right here on ESPN, I know we got other basketball games going on, but on this show Get Up, they called it the game of the night between the Razorbacks and Kansas, which I know we had all the reactions from Pot the Palace last night and everything. And we'll do a little St. John's talk because they did win. They did end up winning. It was a little shaky there in the beginning, but they ended up taking care of business. So the college basketball gods got what they wanted in the NCAA tournament with John Calipari versus Rick Pitino up here in the Northeast. I mean, it's just picture perfect for everybody involved. And later today, we're going to have some press, I guess not press conference, but some interviews with the players in the locker room that we'll be able to catch up with them after letting it settle in for another day, getting ready for St. John's. So we'll have that all on Inside Arkansas later today, too. And shout out to a few of our Razorback friends over here, the Ingrams. Good people here. I guess met them down in Indianapolis. I'm not going to out her. I'll let her say the story at some point in time. But the first time I met them, the brother and sister, she got her nose busted out in Indianapolis, and she has been bleeding all over the place in celebration. It was after a celebration for that. So I just got to give her a shout out because she still was a trooper and all that. Which game was that? Oral Roberts. Okay, so when he got to the Elite Eight. So, yeah, which is it's just understandable. You celebrate, you get a bloody nose, things happen. It just happens that way. That was a post-Max Apes miss 3 celebration?
Yes, thankfully. And a Devo Davis, elbow jumper for the winner, freshman Devo Davis. So, but, yeah, that was a lot of fun. But it's great to be back, not only just in the NCAA tournament, but just – not saying that you've defied all the odds and you've beat all the naysayers because you're still going to get criticisms, but it just felt like that pressure was so much on there. Cal can't win the first round. Cal can't win the first round. Cal can't win the first round. We won the first round. So now it's like, you want to win more games. You want to beat St. John's, but it would have been, as we talked about all week, it would have been devastating if Arkansas would have lost that game last night. I mean, it just would have been. It would have been sucky because we'd have to hear about it. Now we don't have to hear about that element. No matter what, if he loses, they're still going to hear about it. We're still going to hear about it, but it's just nice to survive in advance and live to fight another day.
Well, now Bill Self's getting hit with all the slander because, last year they struggled. I mean, they lost 11 games last year. It wasn't their typical Kansas season, but, a lot of people said, yeah, well, but McCullough and Dickinson were hurt down the stretch. They didn't have enough depth. Okay. And Bill Self even admitted after the game, for this team this year, for them, it was like, nah, I mean, we kind of had everything we needed. I mean, the talent was there. We spent in the transfer portal. We had Hunter and DeJuan and KJ and those guys back, and they just stunk. So the allegations are on them now, but I can't get over the job that Arkansas did. And honestly, I got to give Cal a lot of credit, man, for that coaching job there. We talk about escaping allegations, and it would be sweet, like the icing on the cake, if you advance past St. John's, which Arkansas is very capable of doing, and get into that second weekend and be his first since 2019. But he kind of coached a clinic yesterday, man, because, Kansas was a top 10 defense in the country coming into this game. They had played 7 possessions of zone all year. The entire year, and they had to go to it because they had no answer for Jonas Adu in the pick and roll. They couldn't keep the guards in front, and it took a little bit of time, and you got to understand, it does take time to make those adjustments. So what did Cal do? He calls a timeout. Arkansas comes back out, lob play for Brazile. They get back in a funk again. You resettle some things. Okay, we're going to move Jonas out of the dunker spot up to the free throw line. They start busting them open. So it was really, really good stuff by Cal there. And people get irritated about the inbounds play, like getting the ball in against the press. Like, it drives you nuts, but you don't think he was telling Boogie there, like, hey, we're going to run this play. Don't force it if it's not there. We have multiple timeouts. Use them. Yeah. We'll try something else. Third time was the charm. They got it in, didn't turn it over, got to the free throw line. Really good late-game coaching and late-game execution by Arkansas. So not only is it the he can't win in March thing, he kind of gets that monkey off his back. The game is passing by. He can't let the chalk talk. Well, he's kind of been escaping those allegations now for a while, and he just did it in a March Madness game. So really good stuff, and I absolutely love it. They soaked him with water after the game. It was incredible, man.
The way this tournament works is, it all comes down to these little minute details, these little small moments in these games. And if you win, you're a winner and you're great, and your program is headed on a great trajectory. And if you lose, your program stinks, and every one of your players are chokers, and your coach doesn't have a clue. The reality is never that simple. It's never that black and white and that cut and dry. But that's what's cool about this is that Arkansas faced a legitimate Kansas team. Like you said, like Bill Self said, they have all the pieces. If they had beaten Arkansas, nobody would have been surprised. Everybody would have said, that Kansas team, you got a great big man, you got a senior point guard, you got all these wings. I mean, it works. For Arkansas to take that punch from Kansas, both teams played well in the first half. There were coaching adjustments on both sides. Like, it had all the ingredients of an NCAA tournament game, from the atmosphere to the teams on the floor, the talent, the adjustments being made, 2 Hall of Fame coaches going at it. And Arkansas was prepared for all of it. They were prepared for this moment, like we've been saying all year. Cal gets his team ready for these moments, and so it's cool to see them thrive in these settings. And you guys can probably speak to this a little bit more in terms of kind of what this means for the program, because you were there for the other NCAA tournament wins. It feels a little different here because with the Musselman and that whole era, it was like Arkansas, it was like kind of the re-emergence of Razorback basketball, us kind of announcing to the nation, hey, we're back, we're doing this thing, we're relevant again, and that's what made it so sweet. What's cool about this, and like you said, ESPN, every time we look up, there's something about Calipari, there's something about Arkansas, there's something about that. What's cool about this is that the eyeballs were on Arkansas coming in. Whereas when Eric Musselman was taking those teams on runs, Arkansas wasn't maybe the story going into the tournament, and then they kind of became it after the way they played. Arkansas had the eyes of the attention on them all year. Everyone's kind of waiting to see Arkansas slip up. They're waiting to see what happens. And for Arkansas to not only show up and thrive in that setting, but to, like, make good on it. And now everyone's talking about you for good reasons. It's like it's a little bit sweeter now, knowing that, like, you kind of went in. People were all had their eyes on you, waiting to see what you would do. And for Arkansas to show up and kind of be the story of the tournament yesterday. I mean, there was a few other, like, intriguing things that happened. Obviously, McNeese was awesome. Providence, apparently, it's the spot to be.
Apparently so. Well, I can speak, and me and Curtis, the experts in the NCAA tournament coverage here, because we've had a lot of games under our belt. What is it now? Up to 12 NCAA tournament games that me and Curtis have been covering.
But you're not undefeated.
No, we're not undefeated. No, that's only Andrew Ellis can make that claim right now. So, but I will say, Curtis kind of talked about this morning, where it was a great game last night, and you win in the tournament, it's awesome, and I don't want to take anything away from that. But if you're comparing it to the other years, the further you advance and everything, and I think Curtis brought up a great comparison. This game kind of felt like, as far as a win goes, again, every win's great, so I'm not saying it's not, but this game kind of felt like the win against Illinois a couple years ago, where Illinois was going into the game wasn't that great. You felt good about the matchup. You're like, and it's awesome. But then that Kansas game the next round felt like this incredible elation. And I feel like that's setting up to be something similar if Arkansas is able to do that against St. John's.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a product of the seeding coming into the games, because it's like you weren't on upset alert from some like pesky Cinderella in Vermont or you know Colgate or whoever. So you didn't have that factor of it. You weren't the huge underdog against Coach K or whoever else it was in there. And it was just like that's why it reminded me of that Illinois game. Kansas, super talented, storied program, blue blood, all those things. They've been stinky this year. They just they've had a stench to them, just like that Illinois team did. And what's clear to me, and we can joke all we want, like Arkansas just being the superior basketball program to Kansas at this point. I mean, how can you deny it after the last few years? But Arkansas is definitely 100%, without a doubt, a better basketball team than Kansas is this year. And if they played again today, I would take Arkansas to win. If they played tomorrow, I would take Arkansas to win. I just think they're better, and that makes me feel good. It makes me feel really good. Yeah.
It's hard not to feel good about it. We'll talk about some interesting stuff here in a second, but I do want to get this real quick with our poll question of the day presented by Alumni Hall, folks. If you love this Razorback baseball jersey that I'm rocking, which actually there's a baseball game today, but we're not going to talk about that. No one cares about it. Let's just be honest about it. But we will. But either way, you're going to have all the great apparel there at Alumni Hall. You can check them out at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. Use that promo code Hogs by 20 for 20% off your purchase. They got everything in stock, whether it's for men, women, kids, all the great Razorback apparel. If you're going to be making the trip up to Providence here today, maybe stop on your way to the airport to Alumni Hall and get checked out, and then use the promo code Hogs by 20. But just the confidence level going into this game against St. John's. What is the confidence level that you have? And there's very simple choices here. You either got not confident at all, somewhat confident, pretty confident, or we ain't losing. Where are you guys feeling at where the vibe check is right now?
You go first, Curtis.
I'm probably somewhere between somewhat and pretty confident, but I got to pick one. I'll go pretty confident.
Okay.
Like I think this is going to be and it's very, very challenging, and it's a very different type of challenge than what you saw against St. John's. But I like the way Arkansas matches up here. I like hearing Rick Pitino say, hey, I told my players this is going to be the biggest and most athletic team that you faced, and that's true. And I look at a St. John's team that hasn't beat a top 25 Ken Pom team this season. Arkansas has done that. It's just I like the way this is shaping up. I don't know if I'm ready to just come right out and declare victory. I'll do that tomorrow. But I am on the pretty confident scale, I think, for the Razorbacks.
I guess I'm slightly below that, then at the slightly confident, or like, what was it, somewhat confident?
I'm somewhat confident.
But let me clarify. My confidence that Arkansas is going to show up and play pretty well and have a chance to win this game, I'm pretty high in that. Like, I feel confident that the Razorbacks are going to do their part. They're not going to be scared of this moment. They're going to be a dangerous team tomorrow night. I guess my lack of confidence would come from St. John's, who, like you said, Curtis, has not faced the consistent battles that Arkansas has not had to dig deep in all these games that Arkansas has necessarily, has definitely not faced the level of competition. But I think that there's just a tenacity that group plays with that I feel like, it's kind of, it's a weird matchup, and we'll talk a lot about it in the next, 24 hours or so. Arkansas goes through these weird lulls offensively. They do it in every game. They did it last night. They kind of blow leads and stuff. I feel like in watching St. John's last night, the way that, and of course they're playing Omaha, much worse team than Arkansas, the way that they kind of turned it up in the second half and really put belt to ass and just started defending 94 feet, forcing turnovers. I could see Arkansas giving up a massive run tomorrow night against St. John's. Like, I could see there being a 6-minute stanza where Arkansas gets outscored 18-2 or something like that. And against a team like St. John's, that's pretty much all it takes is one stretch like that where you get overwhelmed. But I trust this team. I trust these players. I trust Cal to have them ready for this environment, have them ready for the challenge that they're about to face. And so I have no doubt, I don't think the Hogs are going to embarrass us tomorrow or whatever. I'm not ready yet to predict a win. I'll have to really talk myself into it. But like Curtis said, I will. I 100% will. So I'm somewhat confident because I do feel confident that Arkansas is going to show up and be game in this matchup tomorrow. Will they officially get it done? TBD.
The only team that's overwhelmed Arkansas this year is South Carolina. That's actually not. Tennessee did too, but
but that was before. That was a long time ago.
The good thing is, it might take St. John's more than 6 minutes to score 18 points because they're not good offensively either. So yeah, it's gonna be fascinating. St. John's defense, it's like an anaconda. Like it wraps around you and it just squeezes. And over the course of 40 minutes, man, it just it kind of sucks all the life out of you. You'll see they're a tough cookie on that end of the floor, man.
Arkansas obviously is a much different team than they were obviously when they started 0-5 in SEC play. But what was another ingredient in that 0-5 start? They faced 5 of the six or 7 best defenses in the SEC. I'm not actually going to give LSU that credit, but you faced some teams that can really guard. And I think St. John's is kind of that ilk, of the Tennessee ilk, of the Florida ilk, of the Ole Miss type of defense, and now you can make an argument St. John's is even tougher than some of those.
Well, let's go ahead and say this, because as far as my take goes, and I'll give the fans' take, because that's who the official voting is on right here, and we'll get to your chats, folks, here in a second, I promise. But right now, 47% say somewhat confident. So kind of where you're at, Andrew. 24% say pretty confident. 19% says we ain't losing, and then 10% says not very confident. But here's the thing, and we got to discuss this, guys. It happened this morning. We always love these that happen in the mornings. John Rothstein, our guy, tweets out, Arkansas's Adu Thero knee might play on Saturday in the round of 32 against St. John's if he practices today. Per John Calipari, he has not played since February 22nd. So it's not a report that he's going to play, but it's a report that he might play if he practices today. So there is a possibility, guys, that we could see Adu Thero against St. John's and Arkansas have a full roster, maybe for the first time all season long.
I don't want to be the guy that just pours cold water on good news. I just don't think it's happening. I just don't. It's a knee injury, or it was a knee injury, or whatever. But he hasn't done anything for weeks. You know what I mean? Like he's
worn some really great red jumpsuits.
Like there's been no ramp up period. He hasn't been working out with the team. Like he wasn't even dressed for the shoot-arounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Like yesterday. So, like really, like he would practice and go out there and get a few shots up and then just play. Is that really going to happen? So like I'm skeptical from that standpoint. But then again, you never know. And there are certain things like we don't really know behind the scenes what he has and hasn't been doing. So maybe there's something to that we just haven't been able to catch. So I'm really anxious, John, to get over to the arena after the show today. Practice is closed, so we won't be able to see the actual practice, but we're in the locker room leading up to practice. So like if the dude's getting ready to go out there, I mean, it is a locker room. Like we'll see him changing into his practice uniform and stretching out or getting on the foam roller or whatever. So we might have a decent enough idea of if he holds up the back end of John Rothstein's tweet there of if he's able to practice today, we'll know at least if he's going to try to give it a go. I think if he does, and he does become available, whether it's for, how Cal is, can I get 5 or 10 minutes out of him? He plays him the whole game. That is a game changer in this matchup because St. John's, like they basically have 5 Adu Theros. I mean, that's kind of their team. A bunch of big, physical, tough defenders and downhill drivers. They can't shoot. So you need guys like that to counteract it. So we'll see. I'm not expecting it to happen, but I would love to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a person more ideal for this matchup against a tough physical team to kind of match that physicality, match that intensity than Adu Thero. But I'm kind of with you, Curtis, where I'm like, I kind of need to see it happen first.
Sure.
I have a hard time. I mean, because literally, Calipari basically ruled him out for the weekend going into this.
He
thing.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so for him to now just kind of be like, actually, he might play, feels like a little bit of a purposeful. When you tell John Rothstein something, it's going out immediately.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit of gamesmanship there. Now I have, again, if Adu Thero goes out there and practices, looks great, I'm sure Adu Thero is probably, barking up the tree, begging to play, begging to get out there and do stuff. But I still would be a little surprised if it really was just this miraculous healing that has occurred over the last 48 hours.
I'm just hopeful because of the story, because of how cool it would be.
Yes.
How cool would it be to see hit number 3 out there, big old dude, and just in the nick of time type of deal. Boogie Flan last night, it's not like he just took the world over and was just, oh my gosh, he's back. But he definitely did a lot more good than harm. I mean, what did he end up with? 4 assists, no turnovers, something like that? I mean,
3 assists, no turnovers, 3 steals.
Yeah, so it's like he definitely helped. Mm-hmm. So, I know they're different players, and that's a guy that's been not playing for a few months.
Yeah.
We're talking about Adu Thero, who was leading the team in scoring, who was a guy that was such a major factor in the game against Kentucky, He's just that dude. And having him back, does that automatically mean Arkansas is going to win? No, but my confidence level, according to the little poll question, might go up a little bit if you get a healthy Adu Thero back.
Yeah, well, and you think about the way that St. John's, I mean, you need him for defensive purposes, obviously.
Yeah.
But the way that St. John's defends you, they pick you up full court. They'll mix in some different full court press looks and everything. And so I think about two things, like, okay, who is the press breaker guy that you get into in the middle and he just goes and dunks it on somebody? Well, it's Adu Thero. And then I think about, okay, when the ball comes out of your point guard's hands and that trap is coming, who can just kind of abandon ship and, split a double team and, weave their way through the press to break it? It's Boogie Fland. And so, like, the potential of having those two guys in this game is absolutely freaking huge because they're exactly what you kind of need to navigate what St. John's does under Rick Pitino defensively.
Yeah, I think Boogie in this matchup is going to be massive. Just that
yeah.
ball handling presence, his ability. I mean, he had 0 turnovers last night. If he's able to kind of be that steadying force, him and DJ Wagner, who, by the way, DJ makes like one really bad turnover every game, but he is pretty good about taking care of the ball for the most part. You get a Boogie and DJ, they're really handling that matchup well. That would put Arkansas in a good spot. And to the point about Adu Thero, obviously, he's been Arkansas's kind of go-to guy, a leading scorer for Arkansas. But in his career, he's historically the energy guy off the bench who's coming and bringing that physicality, bringing that toughness. So weirdly, I think he's kind of equipped to, if he's coming, because if he's coming off the bench tomorrow, it's going to be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. What they were supposed to do with Boogie. That's the role that Adu Thero, we thought he was going to be playing for this team preseason. That's what he played his first 2 years at Kentucky. I think from a mentality standpoint and just kind of a skill set standpoint, it kind of makes sense to bring Adu Thero as that kind of energy punch off the bench. In this atmosphere might be exactly what Arkansas needs for sure.
Tell you what, we'll get into the chat. We'll call it a little vibe check presented by our friends over at Basis Health. We appreciate Dre and Basis Health. They're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits at the comfort of your own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV, hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They are here for you when you need them the most. You can learn a lot more over at basishealth.org today. But we appreciate Dre, appreciate Basis Health being an official sponsor of our NCAA tournament coverage here at Inside Arkansas. So getting into your chats, folks, we appreciate you tapping in. Our super chat from our guy Hayden. It's like, Curtis, tell me what to bet on today.
Well, let's look at the slate real quick and see what we got going on. Andrew, we were talking about all this stuff a little bit earlier. Let me see if I can find a cool upset. I mean, Colorado State over Memphis by seeding is an upset in a 12-5, but Colorado State is favored.
Yeah.
So then anytime I see a much higher seeded team and I can get them for plus money on the money line, I think it makes sense to sprinkle on Memphis there. I know Tyrese Hunter is out, but they still got P.J. Haggerty. They still got Dane Danja. They still got Kobe Rogers. It's a pretty good Memphis team. They're going to be superiorly athletic. I think it would be silly not if you can get an underdog that's such a higher seed to not put a little bit of coin on that. I would probably sprinkle there. Although in my bracket I have Colorado State winning that game.
Yeah. Also, how do you feel about North Carolina, Ole Miss? Because Ole Miss is now plus 110.
Yeah.
As the 6th seed, they are a plus 110 underdog against a team that we all agree probably shouldn't been in the field. Of course, North Carolina looked awesome the other day, and we see these teams kind of catch steam, catch fire in the first 4 and then carry it. I think it's kind of over, like it's the pendulum has swung too far the other way where people are like giving North Carolina too much credit. I don't love Ole Miss. I don't love the way they've been playing down the stretch, but I think getting them at plus 105, plus 110 is pretty much good value.
Do you know what Ole Miss is? A quad 1 opponent for North Carolina. Ole Miss is winning that game.
This definitely is notable. For me, though, I think give me Liberty or give me Death.
Yes.
Plus like 375, plus 400. They're going to shoot the 3 ball. I like Liberty today.
Yeah. I'm just saying that there's going to be an upset of a double-digit team or a double-digit seed upsetting a single-digit seeded team today. Just look out for any 3 or 14 matchups out there.
That would be nice.
Just to be on the lookout for that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Also, our guy Brad here says, "Have another round on me today, boys. Appreciate you, bro."
Hell yeah, man.
He says, "I'm living vicariously through y'all." Question: do you think we'll have to win a game in the 60s, or will we be able to get it up into the 70s or 80s where we are better suited?
I mean, this particular game, if Arkansas scores 75, 80 points in this game, that is definitely
easily
better suited to Arkansas. But I think that's what's cool about this team is that I don't think they get uncomfortable in particular matchups. You know, that we've seen them win some ugly, low-scoring rock fights. We've seen them get out and run. Like, I think they've kind of shown an ability to be a chameleon out there on the floor. But in this particular matchup, I think it would definitely be in Arkansas's best interest to play at a higher pace as long as they're taking care of the ball. If they're able to get out and run a little bit, beat that press, and make this a high-scoring affair, I don't know if St. John's has a shot making to do it.
They don't, yeah. And here's the thing that's interesting about St. John's. They have not been a good three-point shooting team all year. Anytime Rick Pitino is asked about them, they're just not a good shooting team, period. They knock down some mid-range, like guys like R.J. Luis, really good mid-range shooter. Kadari Richmond, really good getting downhill. Threes, free throws, they can't do it. and you know, Rick Pitino's like, when I see him at the free throw line, I want to kill myself. He's not kidding. Like, that's really how he feels when he has to watch these guys shoot. But they turn you over. They get out in transition. They're big around the rim. They're really, really good on the offensive glass. Zuby Ejiofor, who visited Arkansas when Muss was here, and I interviewed. It was an awesome interview. And I was hoping Arkansas might get him. But then he went to Kansas. Now he's at St. John's. He has 150 offensive rebounds this season. One guy.
That's a good amount.
Has 150 offensive rebounds. So you got to keep those guys off the glass. But, you know, it's kind of like Andrew said, you know, this Arkansas team has proven that it can win the slugfest, that it can outscore teams if it needs to. What I'll say is Arkansas is borderline elite defensively. They're top 20 in the country. St. John's, number 1 in the country. They are the best defensive team in the entire country. Arkansas is more talented and has more firepower on the offensive end of the floor. And St. John's hit 14 threes last night. Very much out of the norm for them. So you got to think like, okay, are they going to come back down to earth now and have a 5 for 24 game? Maybe you get something like that going on. But if I'm Arkansas, I'm daring them to beat me from 3.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be so much fun regardless of how the end-up result goes. Our guy Hazelwood, shout out to him for Super Chase, says, like St. John's team all year, can't shoot at all. They thrive in chaos when buttholes get tight. Their defense is like an anaconda. It gets better as the game goes on. We are built for this, though, from the brutal SEC stretch.
Well, dude, think about this with St. John's. How many, like, truly close games that have gone down to the wire have they played in the last 2 months? Like 4?
Yeah, a handful.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's hadn't been like just blowout city all the time, but like, it's a team that lost to Georgia, right?
They lost to Georgia. They lost to this Baylor team that we're watching right now. They lost to Villanova. And so they've got 4 losses by a combined 7 points, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, like the wins that they're hanging their hat on, a down UConn team, you know, a down Marquette team. So yeah. It's a little bit of a different challenge. And then, you know, I think back with with Arkansas, they've got guys like Jonas and like Nelly who have won at a high level in the NCAA tournament before. And you look around, you look at St. John's roster, who are their guys that have been in a game like this with this type of pressure that have thrived.
Right.
You know, like
it's just the coach.
Right. So, you know, and they got going for them there, but the guys on the floor have to make the plays. And so I always wonder about it. It's something I always look at, especially in the transfer portal era now where rosters flip every single year and you get to looking like Missouri, for example. They wound up getting some good players on their roster, had kind of the turnaround year in the regular season. You get to the NCAA tournament. Oh, I ain't been here before.
Right.
This mid-majors is stroking threes all of a sudden on us, and we can't make shots. Well, what do I do? It's different, man. And if you haven't won at this level, sometimes you don't know how to react to it. And so I wonder how teams like that will be able to adjust. Having a Hall of Fame coach like St. John's does certainly helps.
A few other chats here, too, folks. Ice Cold Mint Drew Up says, survive. We're down to 5 perfect brackets. Ooh. I'm going to have one of you guys look up our brackets because I apparently have gone full moron and don't know how to sign into the right account on ESPN.com to see what our bracket challenge is out. So I may have to lean on y'all at some point to give us an update on that. But glad to know at least Ice Cold Mint Drew Up's on top of it. So 5 perfect brackets left. I doubt the Inside Arkansas one is one of them.
No, it is not.
Yeah, I don't think that's embarrassing. Nicholas Kendrick, appreciate it. He says, small fun to change Kansas to Kansas. There's no fun needed. It's already been changed, man. Like, we put it out to Donald Trump, President Trump, yesterday.
Yeah, he should be signing that executive order sometime today. I think he's in the office. When he gets back from golf, I think he's going to probably take care of that. So
you know what? Our Inside Arkansas bracket is tied for 6th place. It's one of the – we missed one pick, but we're close to perfect. We are one pick away from being perfect.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of which one. I guess it would have been – it might have been McNeese that we didn't we didn't end up picking, or did we end up?
No, I don't think.
them?
I think you're right. I don't think we picked McNeese because it was almost like too obvious.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I may have been the one that like convinced us to go Clemson.
Okay,
but shout out to our 5 perfect brackets. Of course, ice cold mint juleps.
Nice.
K Glover keys 2 perfect bracket. Shawty by Jay Flores perfect bracket. True inside bracket from S Hardesty perfect. Lisa Jane 300.
Wow.
Lisa Manley.
All right.
Another perfect jacket. So those are 4 on top. We've got a decent amount of people that only missed 1 pick. There's like a ton of us all tied for.
Can we shame somebody who like got them all wrong or something like that?
You
Let's shame the person who actually made picks because some of them probably didn't make picks, but who made picks that's actually really bad?
Some guy named In Sluga 12182 is the worst bracket among people that made picks. Shout out to Danny Beavers who didn't make picks. He's dead last on the list. Danny Beavers is always in the chat, but forgot to submit his bracket. Some people do that. They make all the picks and then they exit out.
It happens.
It happens.
Oh,
so hey, by the way, there's someone who one of the worst brackets, number 420. His bracket name is Billy. Stop it.
That's gonna. Hey, if I was closer to the soundboard here, I'd play it.
Might be worth our prize, our name.
You have
prize.
Billy Stop It on there?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think I do.
I can maybe kick it with my foot.
It's too far.
I only know about the cricket button.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, a few more chats here, folks. Let's see. We also got G Cox. Says superior talent and player confidence win games for Cal, not his game coaching. He also says Cal was the problem at UK. He alienated his fan base. He alienated the donors. He was his own worst enemy. And a very stubborn guy can't outcoach anyone at the end of games.
Shout out to
Literally
this dude.
just did.
Literally last night outcoached Bill Self in the last 3 minutes.
Another one of very few active Naismith Hall of Famers not named John Calipari. And he outcoached him down the stretch to win that game.
Listen, I understand that, you're nervous. You're trying to avoid thinking about the game you have tonight. Quit living in the past, dude. This is a weird thing to do the day after Cal outcoached Bill Self in an NCAA tournament game. Arkansas's down 3 with 3 minutes left. They go to the media timeout. They come out of that sucker, and what they outscore
15-5 run.
15-5 run in the last 3 minutes. That's not outcoaching. That's not winning a game at the end of the game.
Dumb luck.
I don't give a shit what happened at Kentucky. I don't give a shit at all.
Okay, this guy's just actually an idiot. He just actually doesn't.
The players coach themselves. I'm banning this dude.
Yeah, go ahead.
Get him out
of here.
This is ridiculous.
Out of here. You're fired.
Oh, man.
Gosh, dude.
Blind Squirrel Sports, our Georgia guy. He says, my dogs got KO'd. Yeah, yes, he certainly did. He's like, so I'll lend a little support to your Razorback basketballers. Go Hogs.
Hey,
we appreciate that.
It's good to hear from Blind Squirrel Sports.
Yeah.
And good on Georgia. I mean, honestly, what has it been, 10 years, I think is what I read, since the last time they made the NCAA
I think so.
tournament.
That makes sense.
They didn't make it with all the times they've had great players. They don't make it. Like Anthony Edwards did not play in the tournament.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
I don't think Contavious Caldwell-Pope played in the tournament.
Asa Newell did, though, and he's a baller. He's going to be a lottery pick, and you can enjoy watching him in the league. But good on Mike White for getting the guys back there. I'm anxious to see what they do moving forward. When you have a guy who just winds up being really, really, really freaking good as a true freshman like that, and then you lose him, you always wonder about, okay, well, what's next? But good on them for making it. I thought they were going to play a way more competitive game with Gonzaga. Gonzaga's had some of those stinky vibes at times this year, but they've got so much firepower. When that offense is humming, there's just nothing you can do about it. So.
No, there really isn't.
It was a borderline successful. It was a successful season for Georgia. I mean, we didn't think they'd make the tournament. They went on a nice little run to make it.
Got an 8-9 game. Yeah, they got on that heater at the end of the year. Who'd they beat? They beat Florida and a handful of teams right there. Yeah, they got some really good wins at the end of the year to secure their spots. So.
All right. Well, we're going to keep it moving here. We'll get into a lot of the NCAA tournament games, and tell you what, we'll do that as part of our BetSaracen segment, the #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. They still got all the specials going on. I believe when we checked, Arkansas was 6.5-point dogs to St. John. So
plus 250.
Yeah.
Money line.
So if you're feeling good about the Razorbacks and getting this upset, then go over to BetSaracen, start winning some money. You can download the app on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can go to BetSaracen.com and get to betting that way. Yesterday, we'll go through a few of the games of note, because some of them happened while we were streaming and everything. But as far as the later games, I want to give a shout-out to, or maybe we should just play taps, something like that, to the Missouri Tigers. That was rough. That was a rough showing. You guys tried. You guys were a 6 seed. but you lost to Drake. You can't win very many games scoring only 57 points. And you were an embarrassment to the SEC in the NCAA tournament. So, sorry for that.
Well, Dennis Gates, man, he's like the most almost good coach in college basketball history. He kind of revitalizes the program when he gets there. Great first year, high seed, make the NCAA tournament, and then you get popped by Princeton. And it's like, oh, well, that's okay. They still had a great year. And then they go 0-for in the SEC. And probably should have been fired. I just think anybody, if I went 0-19 in the SEC, I would expect to be fired. I
mean, I would think.
I'm just saying. But then, like, oh wow, bounce back year, man! What a cool story and everything. Get a 6 seed, get there, and then you get your ass beat by a bunch of D2 guys.
Yeah.
And that's no shade to Drake. I mean, it's an awesome story. Good team. You had no business losing that game, man.
Nope.
And he looked like he was seeing deer in the headlights type stuff there against those guys. So. Tough scenes there for Mr. Gates and Mizzou.
I think they got figured out. I think is more so than anything because they started off really good and all that. But you're talking about
you're right.
The Arkansas loss that they took. They beat South Carolina by 30. But then the only other game they won was Mississippi State in the SEC tournament.
Who also sucks.
Who also is no very good. So you're talking about a loss to Vanderbilt, a loss to Oklahoma, a loss to Kentucky, and then a loss to Florida, and then a loss to Drake. All that hot start stuff, people started to kind of figure you out a little bit and took it to you, and you just were not a good team. You had, you talk about good vibes, bad vibes going into the tournament. That was a bad vibe team that you just felt like they weren't going to make it too far. They just didn't make it far at all. They lost in the round of 64.
I wonder how that's going to affect his the feel of his tenure going into next year. Whereas, is it going to be like you got to make the tournament, but if they miss the tournament next year, I think they would kind of be well within their rights to fire him, right?
I think so.
Obviously, it's tough because he's made the tournament twice. So it's like, at Missouri, you make the tournament two out of 4 years. That's fine. But
popped by double-digit seeds both times.
Yes, and then you had it mixed in an 0-for season. So, if they're like a bottom 5 team in the SEC next year, I think that might be done.
Who was the team what was the seed that they lost to first time around? What was the seeded team?
15, right?
Was it 15?
Yeah.
Because Princeton
was it
beat
15?
Yeah, they beat Arizona, and then Missouri was in the 7-10. They won.
Gotcha. I feel like they were.
It was second round because Missouri won their first game.
That's even more incredible that he didn't lose his job because if you get popped by a 15 seed and then go 0-8-19.
I guess because he won a tournament game, so it was like,
Yeah. Well, I got to see Tanner in here says John Miller of Locked On Mizzou host predicted Mizzou publicly to go to the Final Four. Yeah, he also thinks Eli Drinkwitz is as good of a coach as Kirby Smart. So
I mean, dude, as much as homers as we are, I don't think any of us in our brackets, our individual ones, picked Arkansas to go to the Final Four.
No. The furthest I think I picked to go to the Elite Eight, but it's just because if I picked them to beat St. John's, why would they not win on? But yeah, we have some fanhood in us, but we're not crazy. We're not. It's not a rally over here. We're trying to keep it all in pretty good perspective.
We did all 3 pick Arkansas to beat Kansas, and they did. So I felt good about that because every now and then we get nervous about lobbing ourselves up for the dunk on. And Arkansas had lost last night. We would have definitely gotten dunked on.
All 3 of us were fairly close in our final score prediction too.
Yeah.
I had 75-72, and that was the score as Arkansas was trying to get the ball inbounds there with 12 seconds or a half hour. And I was like, damn, somebody's definitely going to at least make a free throw. But
I had 80-68.
Yeah, 79-72. So,
yeah. We'll give our predictions tomorrow, and I'm sure they'll be really close. A few other games of note. Texas A&M did beat Yale. A little closer, a little scary there for a second. But they win 80-71.
Yale covering was huge for me.
That was a deceptively A&M actually was in more control of that game than the final score kind of indicates. I think they were up 10 for 30 minutes of that game. They had them at an arm's length the whole time. But like you said, Curtis, credit to Yale for just kind of hanging in there, covering. That was a workman-like cover.
Yeah, it was really good.
Them and Wofford too. Wofford was in that danger zone of getting blown out, and then they hit a 3 with 20 seconds left to cover the spread. That was huge.
I want to pull this up while you find a game here. From Brett, he says, cheers from the table to your left. Go Terps, go blue, go Tar Heels.
Hey.
Dude, we were talking about how awesome this guy's hockey jersey is. He's got a North Carolina hockey
awesome,
jersey.
yeah.
It looks good.
Really sick, and so shout out to them.
Yeah.
I'm a low-key, I'm kind of a Terps fan in this situation. The Crab 5 is first of all, it's an awesome name for a starting lineup. Derek Queen's a beast. Maryland is a team that could definitely make some serious noise.
I've always been a fan of Maryland, even back to when they were really good. I guess they won in 04, the national championship, somewhere around there, or 02 maybe. But I always liked their coach, and I can't remember his name, but the old guy, the little short old guy. And there's just something, I don't know, the colors, the turtle.
You like the state
cool.
flag, the yellow and black state flag?
I don't like it when they make. I don't like the helmets and stuff they
I
don't.
hate that
Yeah.
too.
No, but
Oh,
the
yeah, the
basketball
football
side.
uniforms.
Yeah.
I think Maryland's one of the few Under Armour schools left as well.
Yeah, it's like them, Auburn,
Isn't the
South
headquarters in
Carolina.
Baltimore, I think, for
That would make sense.
Oh,
I think so.
That does
Yeah,
make
that would
sense
make
then.
sense. A few other games. Tennessee took care of business against Wofford, you mentioned, but 77-62 in that one. We mentioned St. John's blowing out Omaha by 30. Closer in the beginning, but they pulled away. A great game between Michigan and UC San Diego. Came
Yeah.
down to the wire, but Michigan got the victory 68-65.
Bad beat for some people on that Michigan. My buddy had Michigan at -3.5.
Ooh.
I had him at -2.5.
Same.
You did as
Yeah.
well. Curtis placed all his BetSaracens before when he left the state of Arkansas. Obviously, just checks his phone last night and he's like, "Dude, I won $280."
Hey, I didn't tell my wife, man. I was trying to save that.
My bad. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's all good.
She's not listening. It's fine.
Oh, that was electric, man. Out of nowhere, and yeah, that was the reason why. Because that late cover for Michigan, the late the back door from Yale, those things they triggered 2 parlays for me that were absolutely huge. So.
Yeah. Well, going on right now, we have some games, of course, here at Snookers in Rhode Island. We're live, but got a few games going on here. You got Mississippi State and Baylor. This game was the first game of today. Right now, Baylor has a 10-point lead, 51-41, with 13.5 minutes to go.
Chris Jan, bro,
It's a fraud.
we have to stop doing this.
Arkansas broke Chris Jans. Has not won
Arkansas
an
broke a
NCAA
lot of people.
Has not won an
This
NCAA
season.
tournament game since then. Mississippi State, I feel like, obviously there's 32 teams that lose in the first round every year. Obviously, there's upsets that happen, St. Peter's and all that. I feel like Mississippi State last year was one of the biggest disappointments in terms of NCAA tournament. Just showing, they got blown out in an 8-9 game. They're not getting blown out today, but Baylor, none of us think Baylor's that good. They barely beat the worst version of Arkansas. That's a game that we all were like, man, we wish we could have that one back. Obviously, we have beaten Mississippi State since then. I thought Mississippi State, if you can't win this matchup, I think it's kind of, you begin to question, what's the real ceiling for that program over there? I feel like they're going to be stuck in this kind of purgatory of making the tournament but not having any chance to make a run.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I get stinky vibes from them, and they didn't finish the year strong either.
Well, speaking of stinky vibes, Alabama's only up by 4 points to
Dude,
Robert Morris at halftime.
I've been low key eyeballing that as we've been on the show here, and I don't know how healthy Grant Nelson actually is. I saw the guy who I guess starts in place of him now, Jaron Stevenson. I saw him getting helped back to the locker room. But there's no excuse for this.
Yeah.
No excuse. What is going on here? Yeah, let's see.
Here's the thing. Alabama's shooting 60% from the field.
40%
They're not
from
shooting.
three.
They've only got 10 threes.
But it's 50% from the free throw line. They've only got 5 turnovers. There's no stat that really just stands. I got 13 assists. There's just no stat that's just coming out. It just looks like they're just not playing defense.
We're all colonials
I have
today.
an announcement.
Yes.
I have placed a live bet on Mississippi State +7. If Chris Jans loses by more than 7,
Okay.
he's not that guy.
Are you gonna burn his house down?
I don't know.
No.
This is a job saving. I will publicly campaign for you to keep your job if you can keep it within 7.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm keep looking at this.
Also, you remember when people were doing the victory laps and they were like, "Oh man, doesn't Arkansas wish they had Chris Jans instead of Cal?"
Nope.
Blah, blah, blah.
I do remember those days. That was wild.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. It was 6 weeks ago.
But yeah, I'm just looking at this. It's incredible, this box score. I guess it's just because Robert Morris has shot 11 more shots, and they've made 16. Well, 7. I don't know. This is weird. I'm trying to figure this box score out.
6 offensive rebounds.
You know what this is?
They're 18 rebounds tied there too.
This is a live bet Alabama box score.
And they've only turned it over once. Robert Morris. So the 5 or whatever that Alabama has
Must've been
doesn't
brutal.
seem like that much. But if the other team's only turned it over once, so there we go.
Yeah,
Gosh,
yeah,
come
that's
on,
just-
Rob Moe.
Yeah, and Mark Sears only has taken 3 shots in the first half there. So, anyways, would hate to see it. Hate to see Alabama lose in the first round of 15 seed. I tell you, that would really ruin my day. Also, Lipscomb's got a 1-point lead over Iowa State, but it's also with 11-18 to go in the first half, so plenty of time there. So,
By the way, who won the SEC tournament?
Florida.
Florida did?
Yeah.
Florida.
So never mind.
Oh, why?
I was hoping it'd be one of the teams that sucked in the tournament.
Oh, well, almost every SEC team has looked
Yeah.
pretty Nah.
I bet
so
Florida's
far.
going to look pretty good today, if I had to guess.
They should. They better. Yeah, I think they will. And I guess because Ole Miss and North Carolina, that sets up for a team not looking very good. Ole Miss could not look very good in that one. I could see Kentucky not looking great against Troy. Not saying they'll for sure lose, but I could see it happening. I don't think Oklahoma's going to look good against UConn.
UConn might be my favorite bet of the day because I think they're like 4.5, 5.5. Like I think they're going to win that game by double digits. If I had to guess.
Yeah, that's gonna be brutal there. But yeah, it would be. It's going to be a great game or a great day for some college basketball. We'll see if there's any more upsets in the making here, and we'll of course be watching a lot of it here at Snookers. We got to go and do the practice. Or the press conferences, interviews, locker rooms, whatever it is, but we'll do that. So,
shout out to Dakota, big Trojan fan.
Yeah. Trojan fan.
We're all Trojan men tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always a Trojan because my high school mascot was a Trojan. So
yeah.
Did you guys have a mascot with the sword and everything too?
Yeah, no, we didn't have like a cool mascot or anything. It's just just a decent logo.
Yeah.
Curtis, I know you're not a big Trojan fan.
I let that one marinate. I was going to let that one marinate.
Or maybe you were a Trojan man and just this year decided, in the year 2025, has been Trojanless.
Or maybe the Trojans just, there was a little bit of a malfunctioning Trojan, like maybe it wasn't the highest quality of Trojan. That was gone.
Now's a good time to point out Michelle's chat that we have.
She says, I'm always listening. That's the most threatening thing I think I've ever heard her say.
All I know is all my BetSaracen winnings got to go to the diaper fund now. So
yeah, that's tough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for getting you in trouble in multiple ways.
She's like, and she's even saying, still listening. It's like, well, no, it's fine. Well, at least we got her. Jeez, okay. I don't even know how to transition out of that one, but we're going to try to do our best. How about this compliment from Johnny Young? Says, shout out to you three for the amazing Hog Hoops coverage. Appreciate you guys. Hey, thanks, Johnny Young.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
I mean, we say it every day, but like it's not lost on us how fortunate we are to be out here and being able to do this stuff. And, and it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors who, a lot of them just so happen to be people who become fans of what we're trying to do here, which is freaking incredible. So super appreciative to everybody for the support, for the listens, for the love, and it means a lot to us, man. It's exciting. Yeah,
and that's a great transition setting up for, we want to give a shout out. And a lot of you who know Mark Arnold in our chats. And he has been a guy that in post games and Inside Arkansas Live and whatever stream it's been, he has been extremely generous with his super chats. And it took us forever, I feel like, to find who he was. All we knew his name was Mark Arnold. We knew nothing about him, but we were so appreciative of it. Well, we have officially partnered with our guy Mark, and he just reached out and he was like, "Man, I love what you do, and I want to help out." And he's become official sponsor of our NCAA tournament coverage.
Great people.
And I mean, in the I'm not going to get into all the finances of it all, but just it is extremely, extremely generous of what he's been able to do for us and to make this all happen. And he doesn't even want anything really in return. Like that's what's crazy. It's not like something he's like, oh, I'm wanting to do this for myself or I want all this pub and fame. He's not doing that. But I was like, dude, we got to give you something. Like I refuse to just take this without giving you some sort of shout out. But we will do that. The company name is the Drayage Company. And they provide transportation services and imports and exports for all U.S. ports and rail yards. They can call 479-439-6143, extension 702 to get quotes and et cetera. We'll have some more official stuff for him as the tournament goes on. But we just wanted to give him a major shout out. Again, we appreciate all of our sponsors and all of you who are in the Super Chats and all of you who are so generous because, as I always try to use the Church of Christ method, we're not soliciting funds from you, but if you desire to give, you may do so. And the amount that you guys give to us is, again, sometimes overwhelming. And Mark has been one of these guys, so we're just very thankful and very appreciative of all of you and for what you guys do for us and the support. Because sometimes we do this because we enjoy it, but then to see that how many people enjoy it and how many people are willing to give us time, effort, but especially their own hard-earned money is just, it's overwhelming, and we are so appreciative of that. So just wanted to give a shout-out to Mark and a shout-out to all of you who help us out with that. It's awesome.
Oh, Mark is goated for sure. The best guy I know with the initials MA, and that includes Mike Anderson.
Wow. Okay. That's bold. It's definitely not lost on me that, we're like a part of people's days, obviously, because they come hang out with us at noon and everything. But it's like kind of like it becomes part of like your life a little bit in a weird way, and then you guys are obviously a part of our lives and what we're doing, and so it's cool to like have that relationship happening, and it's kind of evolved a little bit because I mean we've been doing this for a while now, but I feel like now is like the most connected we've been with like the listeners and just the fan base of the state in general.
Yeah, I mean we have the Ingrams that are over here just hanging out, and just coming here because we're here, and I want to give a shout out to my guy that I met yesterday, Officer Bill. Might be the most northeastern type of guy and accent ever, but he's just a guy he's like, hey, I love the Hogs. I love what they're doing. I've always liked the Hogs when they go play that game in Texas A&M, and I've watched your podcast. You do a great job, man. I'm like, you should not be watching me or us or anything, but it's just so cool to go out and about and see people come up to us and just say, hey, we like what you guys do, and it just means a lot. So this is why we do it for y'all, man. We have fun doing it. All right, enough of that gooey show of emotion. Let's we gotta keep it moving here on the show and get into our heavy hitters. Presented by one of our other great sponsors here for the NCAA tournament coverage. Presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Storms can hit unexpectedly, so be sure to contact HD Roofing for your peace of mind with a free inspection. When you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. Contact them today at 501-428-0429, as well as visit their website at hdarkansas.com. All right, I'm going to start with a pretty cliche, but pretty normal, I think, heavy hitter. And Jonas Adu. We had a chance to hear from him a little bit, which was great. So let's just hear from him what he had to say yesterday.
Just how did that feel, man?
It felt great. I mean, we're here in March. A lot of people counted us out, and then just to go out and perform with the guys, I mean, it's just nothing like it. It's just truly a blessing.
What was it out there that you were seeing to where you just were in the flow, especially offensively?
I just feel like I was lost in the game. Just getting lost in the game, trusting my work, falling back on the work, and trusting my teammates and coaches.
Did you see some sort of matchup? I mean, I know people talk about Hunter Dickinson, but did you just see some sort of weakness in their defense that you could just exploit down there?
I mean, obviously, you want to go at somebody who's, All-American, gets a lot of awards, like great player. So, just having that opportunity right there and get to take it right there, I mean, I've just been waiting for it.
Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of it. But just he's got to be my heavy hitter. For a guy that has gone through it all, physical being, physical presence, calling people snapping turtles. I mean, the dude's awesome. And 22 points and what he was able to do last night. Arkansas needed every single effort from all the players, but dude was electric, and it makes me feel very good about the chances of going up against a physical team like St. John's, knowing you got a physical player who's hitting his stride right now like Jonas Adu.
Yeah, he absolutely flexed on Kansas and Hunter Dickinson. That was awesome. That was going to be my low-hanging fruit pick. I'm going to go, though, with another guy in the front court, Trevon Brazile, man. Just super impressed with Trevon. He is a heavy hitter now, and it's just never really a way you thought that you would be able to describe the guy. But another one of these games where he got in foul trouble pretty early in the first half, had to sit for a long stretch, and he just comes out in the second half and he winds up with a double-double. And he was so instrumental to what Arkansas did, skying up on the offensive glass for those rebounds was really, really impressive. His motor, his effort levels. All that stuff was great, and it was so cool to see him in his first NCAA tournament game that he was active and available to play in to have that type of performance and be a big reason why Arkansas was able to win that game.
I've got three heavy hitters for the day. My first one goes to Nelly Davis because Nelly Davis was the guy that hit the bigger shots for Arkansas, the biggest shots for Arkansas on the stretch. Had 7 points in the last minute, I believe, or something like that. I feel like his three that he hit to give Arkansas that 4-point lead, if we were doing the win probability like chart thing, I feel like that shot had the biggest spike in win probability. Like when he hit that shot, that's when it was like, all right, it's over. And there's just something cool about a guy who, one, is brought in for this situation, brought in for to do what he did last night, to be ready to take and make those shots in the big moments, knock down 4 free throws down the stretch. I'm just really proud of John L. Davis for just being ready for those moments. Love that. My other heavy hitter, I've got to go to the baseball side.
Okay.
I've got to go to the baseball side for just a second. Zach Root is going to be my heavy hitter tonight. He's about to shove. There's this thing that keeps happening in baseball where, Arkansas will play a pitcher. That pitcher will not do well, and then the fans try and do this weird mental gymnastics. We're like, why was that guy on the mound? Why did they put him on the mound? He sucks. And it just is a revolving door. You start Gabe Gackle on Friday. He has a bad outing. Why was Gabe Gackle starting? He sucks. Zach Root starts last Friday, and he sucks. Why was he starting? And it's like sometimes with baseball, you just have to let these dudes play. You got to figure it out. It's a big sample size sport. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. Zach Root, coming off the worst start of his entire career last week, gives up 10 hits, 7 runs. He's back at home tonight. He's on the bump. He got some rest in him. He's going to be very good for Arkansas today. And I really just didn't like the overreactionary people acting like all of a sudden Arkansas just doesn't have a starting rotation. Like, they're going to be fine. He's going to be a heavy hitter. I'm also going to go Rocco Pepe. As always, we're around a lot of Italians this week. It's a big week for the Italians.
Big week.
Big matchup tomorrow between 2 Italian head coaches. Rocco Pepe, over 0.5 hits, over 0.5 RBI tonight. That is my Saracen prop. I saw someone in the chat say they had the Brent Iredale prop. I think he had a prop to hit a home run, but I like that. Those are my 3 heavy hitters of the day.
Yeah, legit heavy hitters because they hit.
Yeah, I mean, Rocco Pepe, I hope he's a heavy hitter. I think Zach Root's going to be nasty, and people are going to feel stupid for overreacting last week, and that'll be nice.
I think that's a great point and time to bring up this chat. How do y'all feel about the game time? Thought it would be later for prime time with these coaches. So
I'm disappointed.
It was a little surprising. So 2:40 Eastern time is when the game will be played tomorrow between Arkansas and St. John's, which also, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, Razorback Baseball's game 2 against South Carolina
is at 2 p.m. Central.
2 p.m. Central, so it'll be 3 p.m. our time over here. So essentially at the same time. So I feel for Razorback fans in that one. I mean, first off, regardless of the baseball game going on at the same time, how do you have both of these teams play at night, last night, and then you give them the early afternoon window? I just don't understand. I do not understand that, but maybe people know more about TV than me.
I'm not crazy about that, and they're doing it in pods because I guess the what's the other game? Purdue and McNeese is the first game of the day.
Yes.
And then so
not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm really not crazy about it. I thought that it was just perfectly made for prime time. But I get it; it's a Saturday, so whatever, mid-afternoon. That's still a good slot, but this should be it should be the headliner.
Yeah, I mean, what would you rather watch? You rather watch Drake and Texas Tech?
Hell no.
I mean, come on now. You want to watch Michigan and A&M?
Nope.
Creighton and Auburn? I mean, that'll be a good game, but
yeah,
you're going to watch BYU and Wisconsin?
No.
Get out of here with that stuff, man.
I'd be really upset about it if I were St. John's, who played it in the middle of the night last night, and now they're playing in the afternoon tomorrow. But in this particular matchup, and with how Arkansas, depth has kind of been a thing we've talked about literally since July, I just think that's going to be interesting. In the second half, we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that this Arkansas team's kind of run out of gas in a lot of second halves this year. They're going to be facing potentially a lot of pressure. It's going to be tough. I wonder if that's going to not that it really – this kind of stuff we always make a big deal about before the game. I don't think the team themselves is going to be at the under 8 timeout being like, damn, we played 36 hours ago, man. Come on, I don't know if we can do this. But I think it's something to keep an eye on. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to favor either team, but it kind of sucks that we're not getting a little prime time. But prime time is whenever we play. We've learned that.
That's right. I have a feeling people will still watch this game.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
Yeah.
DJ Wagner played 40 minutes last night. Jonas Adu played 39. That's a lot. Nobody else really. I mean, Nelly played 31, but
Trevon 27 or something like that.
Carter and Billy played under 20. Boogie played 24. He might be kind of sore because his first game back or whatever. But it does help to have that 8th man, especially when all it really means is that you have 7 now since you're not playing Big Z anymore.
Well, and
St. John's only plays 6.
Well, and also to add into it, after seeing what Arkansas did with that game against South Carolina and then playing Ole Miss and probably should have winning that game against an NCAA tournament team that had plenty of rest, and you were going on a 24-hour turnaround, and seeing how well you performed in that with 2 less players than what you'll potentially have, I feel good about Arkansas's chances of being ready and being ready for all of that too. So, Finch says, speaking of heady hitters, what will the score versus South Carolina today be, Andrew?
9-2.
Hogs.
Yeah,
okay.
Hogs.
Want to make sure.
Yeah, no, Zach Root's going to get shelled. He's going to go 6 runs after I just did all that.
Yeah. Also, Jeremy says, what's the word on Big Z's minutes? Just a bad matchup?
Jonas Adu is just balling, man.
Yeah, plain simple.
You couldn't take Adu off floor last night, so that's most of it. And Z hasn't been playing well the last 3 weeks or whatever, but when Jonas is playing like an All-American, he's going to play 30+. Yeah. So I was a little bit surprised that Z didn't get any action at all in the second half, maybe not one rotation, but with the job Jonas was doing on Hunter Dickinson in there, you just couldn't take him out. Yeah. So Z will get a look, I'm sure, early, probably against St. John's. And there are things about that matchup against the Johnnies where Z could be effective. Like if he's has to come to the middle and he's a big that can pass it a little bit against some pressure and stuff. Like and he's going to be 5-6 inches taller than anybody that St. John's has out there. But it was more about Jonas than it was Z, I think, at least last night.
Also, another thing with Z is, he played like 4 minutes, I think it was. He had a 4 trillion going on with the 2 fouls. He had the 2 fouls, so of course when he gets the second foul, you take him out of the game. And so he didn't start the game, comes in, plays 4 minutes, gets the 2 fouls. That basically eliminated him for the first half. And then he doesn't start the second half because he didn't start the first half. And to your point, Curtis, it's like, why would you make that move? Why would you make that change? That's kind of when Arkansas took control of the game. And so it's just kind of the way it played out. But I think the foul trouble was a little, like in the first half, it's just when a guy picks up 2 fouls in 4 minutes, you sit him.
Yeah.
You sit him the rest of the half. That's just kind of what you do.
Yep. I'm about to post that right now on the stream real quick because we got to get to that. By the way, I also love the fact that Geico commercial with the pig yelling apparently is always being heard over our thing here. Like, that's great. I love that stuff. So I gotta find where I say. Oh, here I think this is it. Here we go. So this is big, folks. We were talking about Arkansas and what they've been doing and trying to get people healthy and trying to get them back in. That's not it actually at all. Where did that picture go? I'm gonna get it up here though. But either way, we talked about practice and how important it was. Okay, that's what it is. So I'll have it up here in a second. But we talked about practice and of course Boogie Flan coming back, and we talked about the report of the possibility, maybe. Somewhat, kind of, having a Duthero back for the Razorbacks. But it depended on if he was dressing out for practice, according to John Rothstein. Well, that was taken today. That's a Duthero with a basketball in his hand, and I could be mistaken, but that looks like he's wearing his practice gear.
So that means that
I'm looking real close to see if there's a knee brace or no, I don't see
no knee brace.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, that means that they're practicing right now and that the interviews and all that is going to be after, I guess.
I guess so.
I mean, it's unless this is a picture from 2 days ago.
Yeah. But okay. There you have it.
That's notable. Now, here's the thing. Again, this is Rothstein's report, and Rothstein also reported that Boogie Flan was out for the year. Not saying that Rothstein's a legend. He's a fixture in the industry. It's going to be interesting now to see if it is that simple, because Rothstein's tweet kind of made it seem like if he can practice, he'll play. I think that's an oversimplification. And so we'll see. I mean, what the word is, obviously we'll be there in the arena in a couple hours, I guess in 1 hour. We'll get some word, but it's going to be interesting to see if it really is that simple. It's like, oh yeah, he practiced a little bit, he's fine, now he's playing.
That makes me happy.
If he's available and he can warm up, at least he'd be the ultimate decoy at worst,
Yeah.
Like oh shit,
This is also some just A+ gamesmanship if he doesn't play. Elite gamesmanship to be like, oh yeah, if he practices, he'll play, and then post a picture of him practicing.
Right.
Yeah, that's next.
But
level.
Also, I just would not be stunned even 1% if this is a smokescreen.
Right.
I was told he was out for the year, though. That's what I was told.
Everybody always jumps to out for the year, no matter what.
Yep. Because I guess technically Boogie Flan was out for the year.
The regular season.
Yeah. So I mean, man, that's something. So good to see old number 3. Back out there with his guys. And I don't know. I know we talked about would we have a chance to talk to him in the locker room. Maybe now that he's at practice. Maybe we'll have that opportunity. Get to hear from him firsthand. So we'll have to wait and see. But good to see, though. Good to see him getting out there and mixing it up. And it's going to provide some even more excitement for the Razorback fans to get back on there, too. So let's see. Also, Cletus saying with St. John's limited size, Big Z could have a big game. Is that necessarily true?
If they can keep their 250-pound center who's got 5 offensive rebounds a game, if Z can keep him off the offensive glass, then sure.
I was going to say, all the things that Z does, utilizing his size, I would not say is his forte necessarily.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. We always do the thing where we're like, oh, this is a bad match because this game's going to be like that. This team is the opposite, so it's going to be bad. But, Big Z's floor spacing, his shot making has to be there. If Z's not knocking down threes, I don't see how he plays in this matchup. But I think there is a room for it's one team is going to be able to impose their style. Arkansas is either going to be able to kind of space them out and be effective, and Z would obviously be a big part of that, or they're going to bully them. If one of two things are going to happen, it seems like.
Yeah, it's the only 2 things that could happen. All right, let's go ahead and get into your SEC update presented by Razorback. Go to razorback.com. Use promo code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your first purchase. Do you guys make any deal of the SEC's struggles or not looking great in the NCAA tournament as any sort of thing? Like, does it matter? Or is it just the way the tournament is? Because I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I thought the SEC was the best ever."
Well, they weren't going to go 14-0.
No.
This weekend, but I think it's an indictment on the SEC that Missouri lost to Drake. No, I think Missouri just sucks.
Yeah. Yes.
Personally.
Yeah.
We did call this, right? I mean, it was kind of set up for some of these SEC teams that were trending downward already, like a Mississippi State, like a Missouri, Ole Miss. They kind of fit that criteria as well. Obviously, Oklahoma certainly fits that criteria.
Like, I don't feel that way. Like, for Georgia and Mississippi State getting ready to lose an 8-9 game, like, I don't look at that and I'm like, the SEC.
Yeah.
Like, as long as they avoid – I know Drake over Missouri is technically an upset, but if, they avoid the stupid upsets at the top, then I'm not ready to go there yet. But we still got to see. I mean, when you've got as many really good teams as you do –
yeah, Alabama's up by 10 now.
The second weekend.
I mean, if Florida, Auburn, or Bama, if none of those teams make a run, then it would that would really big picture make me reassess what we think about the conference. But yeah, these mediocre teams losing to other mediocre teams doesn't really scare me off that much.
No.
Especially because the Hogs carried the show.
It would be really embarrassing to the league, though, if Kentucky lost today. I can tell you that. They'd be an embarrassment to the SEC. Just disgusting. Cannot happen. Should not happen.
Yeah, then we'll have to have those conversations.
Yeah, we'll have to have the conversations of,
in fact,
changing it over to some other.
We might have them in an impromptu fashion.
Yes,
we will.
That happens.
Hey, by the way, we'll go ahead and just say that. So obviously, there's a baseball game happening tonight. I'm going to have some type of coverage for that. It's just dependent on whether it'll be a video or a live stream. The Kentucky game will be wrapping up around the same time. Just keep y'all's antennas up because certain things could play out to where the three of us would kind of need to rush to microphones and cameras.
Well, people would just want to know our thoughts on, a major upset in the NCAA tournament. We'd do the same thing if a 16 seed upset a 1 or anything like that.
Matter of fact, I think we should just tentatively say we're going to do some type of post day 2 recap. Just a vibe session.
Yeah,
tonight.
We'll figure something out. I'm sure we'll figure something out for sure. But yeah, it's not great. By the way, Ben Stoned says, will you guys be going to San Francisco after we beat St. John's? Yeah.
Yeep.
Is an elephant heavy?
It's a good question.
Does a pig have big balls?
Yeah.
Does
the little pig scream wee, wee, wee on the way home?
Apparently it does. Everyone's hearing it. Yeah. Does the Pope crap in the woods? Yeah, we know. It's just the way it is. Let's see. Oh, our guy Mark. Hey, Mark. Yes. Appreciate you, man. So much, man. He says if Thero plays 1 minute, he will play 20. He won't play at all. If they are worried, he will aggravate his injury or make it worse.
100%. That first sentence there is so key because Cal does that. And like he might say it pregame today just because he'll actually be forced to talk to people. But it's usually after the game. He's like, a dude, he was sick. I asked him if he could give me 4 minutes. He gave me 22. It's exactly right. If he gets in, he's going to play. He's going to play quite a bit. They said, I don't know. We'll see, 10 to 15 minutes with Boogie. Yeah, okay, 24. Got it. That's just kind of how it works with them for sure. If he's cleared, I'm with you, and they don't have any reservations, the dude's going to be out there for sure.
I didn't see Jeff Goodman's tweet, though, of quote tweeting John Rothstein's report saying Rothstein, and Rothstein or
it's
whatever.
Weird.
Yeah. And we did that for Greenberg. That's weird. Anyways, appreciate you, Mark, though. Appreciate all you've done for us, man. Really. Just a lot of people just coming up with is this a this? As we just kept going on a roll there. But, geez. Also, this comes from Homer Hogson. He says, I definitely think he may be a last resort option this game and next weekend. Work him in more if you get there.
Now, I wonder about that. It'll be all about how he felt at practice. And we'll give it a shot when we get to the locker room. He was not made available for us. He was the one guy in the locker room on Wednesday that we couldn't talk to. I don't know if that will change today or not, but we could probably still ask, the other guys, like, hey, saw a dude dressed out, how'd he look? What'd you think? And see if we can get a little bit of a vibe or a pulse for that once we get over there in the next hour or so.
Yeah. Also, there's a few chats I didn't get to here in the very beginning. But Zach says, I keep thinking about how I felt the day that they said Jans and Walker were interviewing for the job, and then again we started 0-6 in conference play. Now we are playing for the Sweet 16, WMFB.
That was around the time that we were talking about when people were like, man,
Yeah.
Arkansas, they got a raw deal by getting John Calipari.
Yeah.
Yeah, who would have guessed that thing? So you got to let the seasons play out and see how it all plays out for you. Brett says, St. John's scouting report. Their offense is predicated on forcing turnovers and getting offensive rebounds, but they shoot terribly and give up offensive boards, take care of the ball, and rebound, and it's a Hog W.
That's a good point there at the end that I should have brought up earlier. They as good of an offensive rebounding team as they are, they do give them up.
Yeah.
They do give them up also. It's a good point.
Our guy, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's interesting with Arkansas how, like, not turning the ball over has been kind of a key thing for them. Like, they've had some games where they've let it get away from them, but and this would certainly be one. Like, if Arkansas turned it over 15 times tomorrow, wouldn't surprise me. But I could see a path. Arkansas went through a stretch last night. I don't know how many they had at halftime, but they went like 10 or 12 minutes just not turning the ball over at all. Like, they got a little weird in the second half, but, like, in the first half, Arkansas was getting shots on goal consistently. I think if Arkansas doesn't turn the ball over, they turn the ball over 10 times, 8 or 9 times, that bodes well. They could win this game.
Yep. Also, a shout out to our guy Logan.
Yeah.
It says, dude would be a perfect matchup for Kaderi. So
I was texting back and forth with Logan this morning, and we kind of shared the same sentiment. He sent me Rostein's tweet.
Yeah.
And he was like, I love this. I don't know about it, but I would love it. Like, please sign me up for this. I said the same thing. I was like, dude, there's no way, but it'd be awesome. Hell, maybe there is. I mean, we'll see here soon enough. And he's right. It would be a perfect matchup. St. John's, whether it's Kadari Richmond or R.J. Luis or whatever, Arkansas is going to be in a position where they're going to have somebody guard these 6'7" slashers.
Yeah.
It's a tough matchup. Do you want to do that with Carter, or is it going to be Billy? Like, do you want a freshman on one of their best players, or could you have one of the most versatile defenders in the SEC back? That would make a huge difference matchup-wise for Arkansas.
yeah, it definitely would. I just think it's funny. It's all part of Cal's plan. That's just what I'm going to say. It was all part of the plan. That's why he held him out. He knew he was going to play St. John's in the second round of the tournament. That's what it was all about. So
He asked for him.
Yeah, that's right.
He texted his buddy on the committee and was like, hey, give me
That's
the
right.
Johnny's round 2.
yeah, that's right. By the way, we're at Snookers in Rhode Island. If you heard a lot of stuff, they got giveaways and stuff going on over here during the tournament.
Trying to get in on
Yeah,
that.
so I
Somebody
mean,
just came and took a picture of us.
Yeah, that's true. And that was you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to get in trouble. Let's see. We got.
I was thinking about that.
It's just a lot. Woo MF Pig says, did y'all see Megan Calipari going through it on the broadcast? She is one of us.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
man.
it was great.
Yeah,
Saw
that
that
made me
after
feel
the fact.
good. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to feel bad about this. I saw Mrs. Cal where I was kind of walking in front of him.
Ellen?
And
Princess.
John Calipari's roommate. And I was walking through. I did not know for sure if that was their daughter because I'd seen her on social media and everything. She gave me a head nod, and I gave her a head nod back. And I did not click until after the broadcast. I'm like, that's who it was. That was her daughter and their daughter. So, yeah. And there was another guy. I guess it was maybe because I think, isn't she married? I think it may have been her husband that she was with. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But they were all together feeling them, like just going through it.
Whoever that guy was, that was my favorite part about it because all the eyes were on her and she was freaking out. And she's like, got her head down in her lap or whatever. Meanwhile, you got the dude beside her who was given the 3 goggles when Nellie Davis did. It was hilarious.
That doesn't sum up like most of the things with like guys and like just in people's emotions. Like some people are just stressing on every single second, and the other guys, doing that stuff.
Yes.
Just celebrating and going through. Yeah, it's always fun to see those emotions. But there was a decent amount of Razorback fans there last time. I'm not gonna say there's an overwhelming amount. I bet you there's more tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot more Razorback fans. Hogs versus St. John's and is it the Reddies? Is that what they're called?
The Red Storm, but
Red
they call them
Storm,
Reddies.
The Reddies, yeah.
The Johnnies, I mean.
Or the Johnnies.
Okay, the Reddies is Henderson State, right?
Pick a mascot. Yeah, but either way, it's going to be a lot of red. There'll be a lot of red there in the arena there tomorrow. So, but yeah, also, hey, Cats by 90 apparently is here.
Hey, Cats
No
by
way.
90. We were talking about you on the post-game show last night, like nicely.
Yeah.
We were.
For
I
a
was
second at least.
he had to come see his papa. His papa's coaching tomorrow. He had
It's
to
true.
come see.
Yeah, it's understandable. Were you about to say something?
No, that was really it. I mean, we were talking about people in the chat and everything and Kentucky fans, but we got to talking about Cats by 90. Somebody in a super chat was like, "Oh yeah, suck it, Cats by 90 and whoever." And I was talking about my back and forth with Cats by 90. I feel like we've kind of bonded over our banter back and forth, and I just said that I notice when Cats by 90's not around on a particular day. So
yeah.
You know.
I wonder. I feel like he should have been more consistent. He should have been around a lot more. Like needs to be in the chats, hitting it up, doing all that.
He'll be here. He'll be here tomorrow whenever Kentucky wins by 37 tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hold on, man. Yeah. He'll be already tweeting at us and all of those things if that ends up happening. So
yeah.
Jeez. If he's actually here, that'd be funny. I don't know if he is or not.
Ain't no way.
Yeah. Let's see. Logan says a second round Hogs inside Arkansas and Providence. How much better could it get? That's right.
Correct.
That's right. It could not get much better. It could not be. Actually, it could get much better. It could be better if inside Arkansas is hanging out in San Francisco for the Sweet 16.
Yeah, there's a direct
and then the Elite Eight. Yeah.
to it being much better.
We could definitely get away with calling this operation inside Providence for a couple days.
Yeah, for sure. I just know that if Arkansas does win tomorrow, I'm going to turn to a stress ball again for a few days. But we're going to figure it out. We're going to be there.
Yeah, John. If Arkansas beats St. John's tomorrow, I know you're going to go. You'll be in the locker room getting us great stuff. Don't worry about joining the post game after. I know you're going to be looking at flights, and I want you to. Yeah.
We're gonna need that. We're gonna need those the lovely chat to really show up if we're going to San Francisco.
What I've learned, here's the best thing to do with John when it comes time to like book things or make travel arrangements, or like when stuff goes awry, like the Airbnb or whatever. It's just like leave him alone.
Yeah.
Just let him. Yeah. Just like let him do his thing and figure it out. He will talk his way through it with us. But the more suggestions we give and everything, it's just he gets worked up and. He's the one that's got to pull the trigger on this stuff too. So I get it. Yeah. I just leave you alone.
I appreciate that because I rage inside my mind. I don't try to rage and let it be outward. I try to just do it in my mind, which is probably more dangerous and more. I don't know. It's a bad time. So let's just hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope it's a very smooth sailing thing. It's like, oh, these are good flights from this place. We'll get here, and then it'll all go well. I'm sure. How could it not?
The funniest thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth was. We were in that ice-cold VRBO that we started at the other day, and you're upstairs. We're like, I just didn't know if you were, like, protesting or hanging yourself or what was going on. And then all we hear is, the freaking media hotel, stop taking reservations at 3:01 or at 3 o'clock. It's 3:01.
3:01 was a hilarious moment on Tuesday.
Yeah, I threw something up there. I'm just going to say. I just really threw something up there. It was a lot. It was a lot. I hadn't eaten. It was a long day. I was already off that bumpy flight. Just a lot going on. All right.
It's a tough day.
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, what's the worst that could happen when we go to San Francisco? It's a bumpy flight and we end up going out.
Did you see the graphic that said your mom goes to college?
No.
Yeah, what was that about?
That Iowa State kid, Mama Litchich or whatever. Mm-hmm. They had a graphic. They were showing his numbers and like comparing it. And the caption at the top said, "Your mom goes to college."
Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I was about to say. So Bama's only went. Oh, now it's 4. They were only up by 2 for a quick second.
Yeah, no, yeah,
they're really
going through it a little bit.
What did Unbiased Bram say? They're nookie footing around.
Nookie footing around. Yep, that's right.
And Mississippi State is in danger of cutting it to a 1-point game.
That's good for your Chris Jans
That
campaign.
is good for my live bet. Yeah,
Save the job campaign.
Well, it is
2-point game again. My goodness, Bama, what are you doing?
They're doing dumb stuff. They're doing dumb stuff. Nate Oates, what's going on, man? What happened? I love this camo gang. Thinks I'm like Alan from The Hangover. It's like, John, gosh darn it, this freaking malarkey. I demand a refund, good sir. Yeah, that's how I talk when I get upset. Like, so this aggression will not stand. I'm that person. So, Heartbroken Hog says, Ellis, if we beat St. John's, you don't have to worry about the chat showing up. It would be y'all's biggest stream since Cal was hired.
I can see that. I mean, I could definitely see that.
Last night was our. We think last night was probably the biggest one.
If we're doing top 5 or top 3 streams, I mean, for sure any of the Cal stuff, but for sure the Cal hiring and when it was all reported, it was number 1. And I don't know. I'm sure one day we'll surpass that.
Yeah,
but that
when Nick Saban gets hired.
Yeah. I think it was that. I think it was when Arkansas beat Kentucky.
That was a big
had
one.
to be a
that
huge
was a
one.
huge one. Yeah, that was a huge one.
And then I feel like there was another basketball-related one in there. I don't know, maybe
Dude,
Tennessee football. Or Tennessee football was probably a big
football
one.
was a big one. I'll tell you that what wound up being one of our biggest basketball post games was after they got blown out at Missouri.
It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Saturday night.
Yeah, it was crazy for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, because we were bringing up our streams last night of 1.5 and all that. Hey, I just want to let y'all know, not to set the record straight, but that's just on YouTube. I mean, that's not even going through our
Hey, by the
Instagram
way,
watchers.
Listen, I don't know if we're allowed to say stuff like this, but
Well, that's a good
Field
start.
of 68 was live at the same time we were, and our YouTube viewership was 4 times theirs. I'm just saying, and obviously, it's a very specific thing. They do a lot of late night streams or whatever, but it's like, that's a big deal, right?
That's pretty cool.
It's a neat little feather in the cap.
Yeah, no, it is a big deal. It's the biggest deal. There's never been a bigger deal than that, ever. So, yes, it is a big deal.
And I say that with like admiration for the field. Obviously, those guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's notable.
Yeah, not that we ever look at other entities or media outlets and compare our numbers.
I only start every single day by doing it. I only start literally every single day on this earth doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Also, somebody asked if we had enough clothes packed and all that. The deal is that if they go to San Francisco, this is the big question, if they beat St. John's, they got to do that. But if they do, it's just going to make sense that we're going to keep it as it is, where we fly back Sunday night, back to XNA, back to Fayetteville, and then we fly out, whether it's XNA or Tulsa or wherever it's at, from there. Because we looked around to see how that would work if we just flew directly from here out to San Francisco. Nightmare scenario that we don't want to go through and we don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Because we were even talking with Hutch last night. Hutch got in, Andrew Hudson got in like at 2 a.m. or whatever, and he just booked a one-way flight because he didn't know when he was going to come back. And he was like, man, yes, I probably should have just done a round trip because now it's going to cost me more. It's like, that's how I'm like, hey, we'll fly in just because I just don't want to deal with airports at least as minimum as possible. So let's just go to that point to where we come back home and then we go from there. I feel like that's the safest bet.
I agree. And to answer the question, no, we don't have enough clothes packed for that. Hell, me and John already did laundry since
we did.
we got here.
We did, yeah. Which we in our Airbnb, we had to go down to literally. I felt like it was like a Harry Potter house, like the spiral stairs.
I don't
even
know if we were supposed to be in there.
I don't know. I was expecting like a cauldron down there, like just spiders. It was pretty freaky, but yeah, we got the laundry done. I learned my lesson honestly from the Indianapolis trip. That's when I learned I had to do laundry in a hotel that one time when we were up there in the bubble for Indianapolis. So yeah, that's honestly why the Airbnbs, I mean hotels or whatever, and sometimes they're more convenient. But man, if you can get you a nice Airbnb, especially for affordable price, where it comes with all the amenities and you get the washing machine and all that, it's totally worth it. So did we just? Okay, so did they just hire a women's basketball coach? That's what people are saying.
That's what people are saying. I mean,
yeah, we got to look into this.
This speaks volumes to my Twitter algorithm that I scrolled through for like 2 minutes and there was nothing about it, but I'm sure it did actually happen.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have to stand by. We are confirming with our sources here to see if it's like I feel like we're on a live news thing. All right. So hold on a second. If they actually hired a women's coach, then wouldn't it be?
It's not the hot chick from Grand Canyon. Woo, MF Pig.
Yeah.
If anybody sees it,
please let us know because
let us know.
Source: Arkansas has hired Kelsey Musick as its next women's basketball coach. Spent the last 3 years leading Oral Roberts.
Kelsey who?
Musick.
Music, like it's with an H.
CK.
CK. Let's see.
Interesting. I'm sure it's a fine hire, right?
I don't know. I
Oral
don't know
Roberts
much about
beat them
her.
in Bud this year, didn't they?
Think so. See, she's a native of Oklahoma. So, yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, again, I guess we'll find out.
This is what's going to ignite the fan base for sure. I mean, listen, everybody wanted a change with the women's department. We'll see if this one works out. I have no context, no ability to predict for you whether or not this is going to be a good hire or not.
I don't care.
She's
Alabama's losing.
Yeah, that is true.
Alabama's down 1 with 6:46 left. Wow.
Yeah, and I think the people around us are rooting for Robert Morris. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It seems like that they are, but the Robert Morris, man, that would be. Would that, man? You talked about the upper seeds and losing to anyone. This would make the SEC look really bad. It really would. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, because Alabama being the Final Four team a year ago, they finished, what, third in the SEC, I guess, overall?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
hell, they're a 2 seed in this tournament. They
So,
were
yeah.
definitely a top 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, this would be next level bad. In fact, it may be one of the biggest upsets maybe since John Calipari in Kentucky lost to St. Peter's.
Yeah.
From the SEC. So,
By the way, I was right in my thought process here. The new women's basketball coach beat Mike Neighbors in Bud Walton Arena this season by 21.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Smacked them up.
I like this comment from Bobby G. He says, "Come on, is that the best we could get? If it makes you feel better, they made other coaches say no first.
yeah.
You know, well, like this is like their first, like you know,
They were 24-9 this year.
That's a
Oral
winning
Roberts.
record.
Yeah.
Where'd they go? Oh, they went to the WBIT.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know.
All right.
Women's basketball invitational tournament.
bit.
That's what I'm going to call
It's a
it.
bit.
That's all right. Well,
Last
cool.
year they were 21-11.
Sweet.
And
Also
the year
winning
before
record.
They were 12-19.
Back to back.
Program builder.
Yeah. Yeah. Started from the bottom. Now they're here at the WBIT. So good stuff. Good stuff. There we have it. All right. Yeah, but yeah, Bama is now with a 1-point lead, but it's going back and forth, man, being pretty intense here. As I don't know, I felt like I just saw somebody. Bama got
Mark
no
Series is going to
take over.
big boy him here.
Yeah, saw a kid in the Alabama place when they made that shot with Grant Nelson. He was doing the on your head thing. I'm like, my brother, you're up by 1 to Robert Morris. I don't know if that's the thing that you need to be doing
Hey,
right now.
speaking of the on your head thing, Cooper
Oh.
Flagg starting for Duke today.
Oh, wow. How about that? Speaking of another thing, Baylor's got a 1-point lead with less than 30 seconds to go.
Seems like Mississippi State's got a chance. They got some life.
We got some bangers of an NCAA tournament games going on right now, fellas.
This is March.
This is March.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
sleep in May.
This is kind of like the witching hour a little bit, where you've got like the finish of Bama, the finish of Mississippi State, Memphis, Colorado State's heating up pretty good. It's gonna be a close game.
Yeah. So let's see with this game with Mississippi State and Baylor. Baylor has the basketball up by 1, 29.5 to go. So
They should have no problems against Mississippi State's defense here.
I don't know. They may Mississippi State may bore them to a turnover, and they end up having to throw it.
Our guy Trey here has the under 148 in Mississippi State, so they're at 145 right
Yikes.
now.
Uh-oh.
So you're a couple free throws and a made 3 sending this to overtime away from being toast.
Mississippi State's in trouble, or Baylor's in trouble. They called a 5-second call. Mississippi State. Oh,
No,
wait.
they called jump ball, and Baylor's going to keep possession.
I thought one of the refs did that. Maybe I guess he got overruled.
No, I think he was just like,
I thought he was
blowing the
doing the
whistle to
5.
stop play, and then did the.
They called a jump
did
ball,
the this.
really? Yeah, I don't know about all that noise. Seemed like it was a bailout.
That was the guy to foul, by the way.
Yeah, now you got 10 seconds. I don't know, what is Mississippi State trying to do
you have
here?
You have to foul. When the big man catches the ball, that's probably when you go ahead and foul,
Yeah, I would
right?
say
when
that.
the shot clock's turned off and you're down by 1,
Yeah, I would say.
Probably like that's the opportunity you dream of.
Yeah, that's the time frame that you've always wanted.
So is the national media going to put Chris Jans in a guillotine for his late game stuff here?
No, dude, I'm sure they're going to applaud him for the effort.
Yeah, because they made a good run to end it.
Yeah. So no matter what, it makes both of these. Mississippi State still has a chance. Do you foul if you're up 3? It's the ultimate question.
Always foul up 3.
Always foul up 3. They fouled. This is the guy that was the freshman or all Big 12 freshman of the year, I believe, at the free throw line.
Mr. Edgecombe.
His head sideways. I didn't like that.
Well, let's see. Oh, it's a 1-and-1. Okay,
Woo,
hit the front end. I thought he was going to miss that one. That would have been.
So you're still in good shape, Trey.
Oh, dude, this is Josh Hubbard time.
Josh Hubbard time. And
He's been really good, or he was very good in the first half. I haven't been watching the second half. We're just gonna have to watch the last 9 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Good
we're
way to
getting
end the show.
Yeah, but
Although I
say
guess
we're in the show
get
here
a time.
shortly.
They'll run it to half court and call timeout, right?
I don't know. All right, so maybe somebody's got some money on the Baylor Mississippi State game. So Baylor's up by 3. I've always wanted to commentate an NCAA tournament game. Here comes Mississippi State up the floor, passes it out to the top of the key, fires a 3, and it is no good. Out of bounds.
That's
Very
the
much
most
bad.
Mississippi State thing that's ever happened.
Yep.
The most Mississippi State thing that's ever happened.
And that will do it. 0.8 seconds left. Baylor ball. That's it.
They cover the live bet of +7 though, which is all that really matters. And if they had gone to overtime, they might not have done it.
SEC once again takes another L to the Baylor Bears. But, man, it's a great way to end it, though, folks and fellas and everybody that's been watching us. Any final thoughts before we get out of here from Snookers in Rhode Island?
No, not really. Just stay tapped in to everything we got going on. And I know Andrew's been teasing a little action later tonight. Maybe we'll see. But we're going to have some interviews coming from the locker room that I'm guessing you're going to want to listen to probably within the next hour and a half, 2 hours. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, and be like I said, just kind of have your antennas up. We're going to do something tonight, whether it's just me end up recording a baseball recap. But I feel like if the games are fun enough today, we might just have to do a little something.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. But, yeah, I know, again, huge shout-out to Snookers here in Providence. We really appreciate them having us out there. It's a great place to watch the games. In fact, if you couldn't make it out, if you're in Providence, you couldn't make it to today, maybe you're traveling or whatever, we're going to be back out here this afternoon, actually this evening for the night games. So if you have a chance, come out and hang out with us. We're not going to be doing any live stream, maybe. But mostly we're just going to be watching games, having fun. I mean, they got great food here. They got all the pool tables. They got dartboards. They got every TV that you look. So this is the place if you want to watch an NCAA tournament game or games out here in Providence. So that'll do it for us here at Inside Arkansas Live. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Next time we go live streaming, because they'll be happening again, be sure to tune in for Pot at the Palace post game following Arkansas and St. John's tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.